all the damn work I put in with you.
LuFisto.
What can you do with this person who's new so they look good, you look good, and everybody's safe?
Might as well put him in a black leather jacket and a black hat.
Jeff Lippman.
It looked like she was too slow for school, but she came out playing the hot mean girl.
That looked really good.
Well, hello. Welcome once again to LFG. This time we look at episode 4. And what do we do with the contestants here? We boil them, fried them, put them in the stew like a potato. Oh, yeah. I'm LuFisto, and my partner's here, Jeff Lippman. Hi, Jeff. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. It was a good weekend of wrestling. Too much wrestling, probably, but, well, I've watched like 4 shows. If I count LFG, that's like 4 shows. But most of all were good, and I was really happy with Evolution as well. So, yeah, good week for wrestling.
I watched 5 shows if you count SmackDown, so, and I do count LFG.
Well, that's 5 for me too, then.
There you go. See, okay. I thought Evolution was terrific. I mean, I thought Evolution, listen, I didn't watch Ring of Honor. I didn't watch All In, so I'm not trying to bash either of them. I didn't see them. But of the WWE shows, and then let's leave it at the PLE Saturday night. Mm-hmm. Evolution was by far the best of the 3. I thought the Great American Bash was just a good episode of NXT. And actually, it wasn't that good an episode of NXT because I was expecting the PLE and it didn't have the flow of the TV show. And Saturday Night's Main Event was fine. I mean, I hated the first Saturday Night's Main Event. I skipped the second Saturday Night's Main Event. This one I watched, I thought it was fine. So anyway, I have a question for you sort of before we start, but it is related to LFG. So they keep telling us that the winner gets an NXT contract. Mm-hmm. And we know that all of WWE is one thing. And we know that Evolve is really part of NXT and part of the Performance Center. And there's NIL contracts. And the WWE ID program probably has some aspect of PC or NXT contracts with them as well. But I don't know the extent. You might. Jasper Troy is very much on NXT. He was on the PLE. He's already had 1 title match. He's, doing the jobs. I guess he's learning that just being big and strong isn't the way to win matches. That's part of his journey. But he got a title match. He opened up a PLE. Tyra May Steele had 1 match on NXT. She, of course, won season 1 of LFG. Olympic gold medalist. Had a couple of appearances, but now she's on Evolve. So putting aside that it's all WWE, is that a sign that she hasn't progressed enough? Or is it just that the women's roster is just so darn deep on NXT? I mean, and I know that you don't know for sure, but what do you think is going on with Tyra May Steele?
Well, she usually if you switch from shoot wrestling to actual professional wrestling, sometimes it's a transition that's a little bit harder for a few people because you kind of have to unlearn a few things. So maybe she's having a little bit trouble with that. So she's starting at Evolve. Or I really think there's so many women right now that until they move a few up, to either SmackDown or Raw, they don't want to burn her out right from the start too. So why just not wait and give her some wins on Evolve and maybe have something where she's either undefeated or, it's going to give her ring time anyway. So that's what she needs right now to get better. The footing's going to come with the ring time, the ring presence, the ring, everything comes like a lot of experience is just by practice, bumping, wrestling. So, but I really think they have so many women right now. Like some of the cards, like more than 3/4 of the matches or close to are women's matches, or they'll go like 1, 2, 3 matches in a row of women. And then, it's like you said, the roster's so deep right now. There's so many female wrestlers right now that do you want to just throw her in there at the moment and get lost in the shuffle, or you want to wait until there's specific opening where she can shine?
Yeah, no, I absolutely want the right thing and the best thing for her development. And if that's Evolve, that makes perfect sense. You're right. The women's division is crazy. The men's division is first catching up to getting adequate. I mean, luckily Luca Crucifino's made some steps up. Obafemi's terrific. Javon Evans is progressing nicely. Obviously, the imports from AEW and Ethan Page and Ricky Starks, to a lesser extent, Lexis King and Shawn Spears has helped. I think Nico, who's part of Shawn Spears' group, is doing well. Tony D'Angelo, I think, is sort of like a little gem there. I think Tavion Heights is doing it. So I agree. And I tell you one thing that I might do with Tyra May, and I would really leverage these partnerships with these other organizations. I mean, I might send 4 or 5 women to TNA, NOAH, and AAA on sort of, 6-month excursions. But I think I would send Tyra May to each of those promotions and have her have 3-match winning streaks in each one of them. And she comes back and she's 9-0 or 10-0. And, maybe she has a minor title from one of those places. But I don't know if that's how the world works anymore. Anyway, so this show opens up with Shawn Michaels basically telling us the theme of the show is for them to show us their inner heel or inner babyface, which, I mean, I don't know that this is so much different than last week's challenge. So be it. And Charlotte is our guest assistant judge. So I thought that was great.
Yeah, I really like the fact that she started by saying, "Show me who you are," without telling me who you are. And that's why, I always repeat, when you come out, people should know if you're a heel or a face. It should be clear from the start. And she mentions that. And she also, told them that not all of them will make it, maybe not even half of them, which is the reality in professional wrestling or any type of sports. There's so many people who want the spot, and there's so many people trying. Sometimes you're just not what is needed at that moment. And one day is just too late. And it's just sad. It's a lot of, I was listening to Jim Cornette this week, and he said, it's a lot about, yes, talent and the time you put in, but it's also about luck. And not everybody has luck to be at the right place at the right time, being what they want at this very moment.
Absolutely. Yeah. You mentioned some of the keynotes of her speech. I mean, the one thing that really stuck with me that you mentioned was that she said, make everyone on that main roster nervous about their jobs. Be authentic and you'll get cheered or booed, but everyone there should know that you, and she named somebody, you're coming for Charlotte Flair's job, and you're going for Roman Reigns' spot. So I thought that was cool. And then we heard the coaches basically talking to their teams, but they were very brief segments, and they all basically said the same thing, except they didn't have Michelle McCool say anything. I guess she should say anything tape worthy, but Taker basically said, get to know yourself. Booker said, you need to feel you on the inside for the fans to feel you on the outside. And Bubba basically said, capture your attention anyway, or capture their attention any way you can. So, and then Charlotte said, as you said, she said, introduce me without, telling me who you are. And now we remember season 1, it took a while for anyone to volunteer, and Shiloh didn't want to volunteer. And then later on, he cut a fantastic promo, and Jasper Troy came out and cut an angry promo on CM Punk, and everyone's like, this guy's not afraid of anything. And that sort of set the tone besides him being gigantic. So Zena volunteered to go first, which is good. She's the favorite, but she hasn't won anything yet. She hasn't stood out, so she had a little chip on her shoulder. So I'll let you sort of take it from here.
Well, BJ sang. I mean, it was not something you would expect from a wrestling promo. And he's kind of a guy that's his character, it sold it because he's very cocky. He thinks all the women loved him, including the queen. So I was like, oh man, this is cheesy, but I was like, okay, it works for him, I guess. And, Charlotte was laughing. I mean, in wrestling, what's great is you can be angry, you can be sad, you can be mad, You could be funny, you can make people laugh, and you don't take yourself seriously or you do too much. So we had a little bit of everything from here, like Shiloh, like Harlem was so intense. I feel in this episode, we saw a little bit more of his, like you say, a little bit of chip on the shoulder, but I mean, character wise, not necessarily that the guy has one, but the character always wants to prove, and he doesn't care who's in front of him, if it's a friend or an enemy. Whoever's in front of him, like, is gonna die. So I like this aspect of him.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, they didn't show us what everybody said, so I can only imagine what the people who they left out did or didn't say. Zena basically said, don't underestimate me, but she was fairly intense. Shiloh, basically, I'd sum it up as he was holding back the crazy. Hayes, parties hard, hits harder. Tatyanna, I used to want a spot. Now I'm going to kill for that spot. Serena, feel my pain. She's actually starting to work on a pretty good tagline also.
Oh, yeah.
Vamos, baby. It's about to get spicy. So that's good. Harlem, this is my business. Trill, I'm what you want to be. And as you said, BJ, he sang a song to Charlotte. She wants to know if he's all talk and no walk, and can he do it in the ring? And that's a continuing saga. But she didn't shoot him down initially.
I don't know if you noticed, but when Harlem, the way he was looking at the camera and breathing, it reminded me a lot of like a Psycho Sid kind of interview. Like, so I was like, okay, he's getting somewhere. I still think he needs to work on the gear and everything, which was a little bit better this week because it was not like the usual barbed wire tights that everybody buys on high spots. This time I felt like he looked more like a killing machine, showing his legs. The chest hair was back. So it's really stupid, but a little something like that makes him different. So you need to be different. So actually,
show.
Exactly. So, well, from there, speaking of Harlem, since we are already, the first match was him versus Shiloh Hill. And for Shiloh, I thought his entrance, was really intense. The jump from, the floor, like a box jump up to the ring is really impressive. The only thing that bothers me from him is he's really, really intense on his entrance, but then once the bell ring, it stops. And I thought for this one, he looked nervous at the beginning, the way he was shaking, looking at Harlem, and Harlem was stoic, not moving, so ready. It created a clash, and I really feel like Shiloh was, I don't know if he was, but he looked stressed.
Yeah. I mean, so this was a match that the coaches absolutely wanted and put it together. I mean, they put together all the matches, and we'll obviously get to Harlow's promo, by the way. I thought his promo was really good. He goes, Shiloh, you failed last year. You were number 2 then, and you're going to be number 2 now. You're about to be locked in a cage with an animal who wants to kill you. Taker definitely wanted to see the physicality to match the intensity of Harlem. He wasn't even talking about Shiloh there. I loved when they got in that they took their time locking up. They stared each other down, but it wasn't a stare. It was like they were sizing up prey. And that was really good. And then, like you pointed out, it sort of fell apart. Like the judges were commenting, they could not tell who was the face and who was the heel.
Same.
Neither could
Same.
I. Even after Harlem pulled the hair a couple times, I mean, it's not, that was it. Then they started slapping each other in the face and clubbing blows. And then you could tell it was, no one cared anymore at that point because it was just, 2 big men slapping meat.
But there was no fire, and they were not selling. Even if you're going, the slapping meat stuff, if you punch somebody in the face, please sell it. You're supposed to register and sell it. It was like just going 1-2, 1-2 without taking the time to grabbing your jaw and feeling and showing the pain and then going back. Boom. It was just 1, 2, 1, 2 in the ropes, not the ropes. So I was because it's a spot that can work, but you need to show the pain and the anger because you felt the pain, and then you go and you hit your opponent. I just thought it was really, not that it felt rehearsed, but it was just it had no life.
Yeah, it was a little clumsy also. And I mean, I'll give Shiloh some points for he had a neck breaker that was pretty interesting. But he did hit his finisher out of nowhere. It's like nobody was really getting over. And then, this has happened in a few of the matches. I think it happens at least one more tonight where the finisher comes out of nowhere. So they must be on strict time guidelines. That must be more important than doing the match well and hitting a finisher when it makes sense. But I'm just surmising there. But yeah, the end came out of nowhere. Shiloh Hill gets the win. I'm just keeping track of who gets the win to see if they're trying to teach any veterans lessons. And then afterwards, we get a promo from Shiloh, and he said something like, you come out with the gas, but when you come out with the gas, you don't know that you're going into a fire, and fires accelerate, and I'm a hellhound, and I'm the dog from whatever he said. I sound like the Ultimate Warrior. He somehow made it made sense. So, that was good, but the match itself left me, not so excited. That's why you said Harlem was Psycho Sid. Do you remember when Nikita Koloff, when they dropped the he only spoke Russian thing and all of a sudden spoke English?
Yeah.
It sort of reminded me when Nikita Koloff, first discovered English and was doing his promos in English.
A little bit, but here's the thing, like the promos, they're back to being intense. I was like, oh, it didn't really not, like it's before and after they're fine, but when they're in the ring, they're so focused at wrestling, doing just moves. They're not selling the intensity. There's the promos, like they need to match the promos, but in the ring, they need to, I don't know if they need to remove a few moves for them to just take the time and have that intensity and the screaming and looking at the crowd, or there's no sound coming out of their mouth when they're hitting or when they're getting hit. It's like, it's not realistic. I just hate when people there's no sound coming out. It looks to me that makes the fight look fake. Like everybody knows it's scripted, but when the thing is to make it so that, the magic of wrestling makes you believe. And for a second, you're like, oh, that hurt for real. And then you get into the match because it looks legit. And that's where they're not at, I think, right now. And as you said, I don't know if they call the go home right away and they have to go for the finish in 1, 2, 3, or because usually the best way when you have 10 minutes, you're going to go over your time, what you want to do. And then from the comeback to the finish, the go home spot, you try to figure out how long is this. So when the referee calls 5 minutes and you have 10, you know that at 6, you need 4 minutes to tell the story until the end, until the finish. But it's something that you practice or learn later. So maybe they're like just too new to figure out the time this way. So they just, when there's a go home and means finish, it's not actually a sequence. So I don't know, but maybe that's what's going on.
Yeah. Listen, I'm obviously not the veteran here. You are, and none of the judges said this either, but I sort of got the feeling that maybe these two guys are the two alphas, and they were too busy both trying to be the alphas, and nobody was leading and following, and it just made for a mess of a match. And by the time they realized it, if they ever realized it, it was too late to actually do a match with a story other than we're two big guys clubbing each other. Oh, time to finish.
Yeah, well, let's go on to BJ and Trill London. This one was a little bit clearer who was the face, who was the heel. Although at the beginning, I wasn't sure it's funny because this match is completely the opposite. Like,
so different. The
first match was like, I know his heel, I know his face. And then when the match started, I didn't know. This one, I didn't know who was the face because BJ kind of went to the crowd and I thought I wasn't sure, like, it wasn't clear enough if he was like talking shit or he was like, I thought he was going to, clap in their hands for a second, but I was like, and then when it started though, BJ like clearly wrestled as a heel. It was clear. I wasn't sure about the spider. I don't know if he wore this thing before, or was there ever a spider on Trill?
No, but remember the first time I said he doesn't present as a face when he comes in? Mm-hmm. He was wearing like a shield, like a bulletproof vest. But he was wearing the painted hockey mask. Mm-hmm. The spider didn't help things any, but I don't think that's like it's really crawling in. It's sort of spooky. It's not a face entrance, and I'm glad that you now agree with me. But I did like Trill saying, "I'm not a pushover. I'm here to be great." BJ is still, I don't remember what we called it last time, but I call it BJ is in the pizza delivery guy outfit.
The shorts gotta go. Oh man, I just see a mailman or the milkman. That's all I see.
Yeah, I think we call him the paper boy, but whatever it is.
It's paper boy.
He looks like, some preppy, family's son in a suburb that does a bicycle route or delivers pizzas because his parents told him he has to get a job to be able to drive his BMW, turbo or whatever. But listen, we did establish that Charlotte did not exactly say no to love. She said, I have to see what he does in the ring first. She's not like, I need to know if he's a cool guy or anything like that. It's just, that's, so I don't know if he impressed her or not that much in the ring, but I guess we'll find. But listen, Trill definitely came out working as a face with Andre.
Oh, yeah.
He's
a good baby face. Yeah. Because he has a lot of fire, which is always missing for baby faces. So I like, his shine was good with the arm drags and then the fire, even his comeback. BJ was, he was aggressive as a heel. His cutoff with the guillotine, even Charlotte popped on it. Yeah. Really good. The thing that really bothered me, there was no pinfalls. I'm like, are you trying to win or beat up the other guy? Because you're like not hitting hard enough to completely beat up and have him submit or quit, and you don't cover the guy either. So I was like, man, they have to push more on, you do a bigger move, cover. There's going to be a kick out. It's fine, but cover, at least try. And then this one was kind of out of nowhere too, but I thought it made more sense because Trill went for a shot, made a mistake, because he planted himself, and then quick roll up, holding the tights, very heel, 1, 2, 3. That's a good finish out of nowhere because you think the babyface is winning, but then misses one move and just the heel capitalizes 1, 2, 3. So I thought that made a lot more sense, and the out of nowhere there was well placed.
I agree 100%. And so a bad thing about BJ, his forearms were terrible.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think I could do that without any training.
Can't hit for shit.
However, like you said, that roll up was perfect. And on top of that, he put his full weight on top of it, which really I think helps a sneak roll up and the pulling of the tights. It's like he of all the things that he looks lazy at, he wasn't lazy at the finish. Now, Trill, he has some mad ups. When he did a leapfrog, he must have gone up 8 feet. He did spotties. He did like almost like a standing, it wasn't a leapfrog because he just lifted his like when you do those, when you're doing your abs and you're sort of in that device and you kick your legs up and over. He did that basically and jumped over a person's head.
It's like he has like a rocket strapped to his ass.
That was amazing. He is mad ups. So, and the judges, like he said he told a good story. Now, BJ, I'm not sure if this is I don't know where his character ends and where BJ begins. I'm not sure he does either, because he says, I'm going to do whatever it takes, and everyone knows I deserve the point. I mean, I don't think he did either of those things, and I don't think he's particularly, he was in the ring with a guy who could do a standing, jump up to be 6'2" in the air. Come on. And Trill said, listen, I don't want anyone to ever have to worry about Trill. He'll show out. And you know what? I was not on board with Trill because he's skinny. Now I am. Now I right now he looks to me. I love my hosses. I'm a sizist, but right now I'm looking at him going, wow.
Yeah, babyface, definitely babyface. And here's the thing: this guy can fly. Why does the heel does not try to stop the flying by hitting the legs and bringing him down and keeping him down? That's how the match would be great with Trill, because you're trying to stop him from flying, and yet nothing, it didn't happen. And BJ, they were talking about it at the beginning, like your character has to be close to what you are, and it needs to be turned up 200% or turned down or whatever, depending of if you're going heel or face. So yeah, BJ, where there's the character, because he needs to push it way more. If you're a cocky guy, be cocky. I'm thinking about Shawn Michaels or something like that, where it was obnoxious. He's annoying, but I wouldn't say he's obnoxious to the point where I want to punch him, at least not when he's wrestling. And he needs to bring that. Yeah, he's goofy. Pants.
He lacks gravitas. You know who he should be? Who he should be like? Heel Dolph Ziggler. because he was also a collegiate level wrestler. And as you just pointed out, the other guy's a flyer, so you keep him off his feet. Well, what's a collegiate wrestler do? You keep it on the ground.
Bring him down.
You try to get up. You spin your body around on them like you're a helicopter, keeping them on. You tie up their legs. You tie them up in knots. And like you said, he needs to be himself. He's being this character, even if he's being this character 20 out of 24 hours a day.
It's a all day, all night gimmick.
But it's still not him. So the next one we see, who I'm not really sure that she's all her, is Tatyanna telling us how confident she is. And then Zena, and this is like foreshadowing, but Zena's telling us that she's the lead and she's the only one who knows what's going to go on in the match and what's planned. And she's a little bit nervous about this. And like was this foreshadowing with four question marks? Of course it is. But my question to you is they're training. Is that normal for somebody that's just learning, for one person to know the match and the other one to just have to follow?
Well, here's the thing. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure exactly what she was saying. Was it that she didn't come to training as much, or she didn't show up, or she could not remember the match to save her life? That wasn't clear to me. So I was like, but even when you don't remember a match, write it down on a piece of paper. And just because you wrote it down, for some reason, now you have a visual of the things that you're going to do that you can read over. I mean, with time, please do not show up with your full matches written on a piece of paper. I mean, Macho Man used to do that. Ask Ricky the Dragon Steamboat at WrestleMania 3.
I don't need to ask Ricky the Dragon Steamboat because my wife was friendly with Lanny Poffo. Oh. And she actually, there's somewhere on YouTube an interview where it's like an hour long, because he moved to Ecuador and she's from Ecuador. So he did an interview with her, and her English wasn't as good as it is now. And his Spanish probably got better, as he was there longer. He's now passed, of course, for those who don't know. And he, you know how if someone goes to Harvard, it takes about 2 sentences before they mention they go to Harvard. That's how Lanny is with saying he's Randy's brother. So of course he told the story about that match, but he actually said that Randy drew it out. He diagrammed it all out, and I'm like almost picturing a horizontal, illustration
for the movies, like when they do like the
like a storyboard, exactly like
storyboard. Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
And they were good artists, the Poffos.
Well, so yeah, I wasn't sure, is it she can't remember, or she doesn't care, she doesn't listen when they practice, or she's like, I'm fine, and clearly she's not. So I wasn't sure about that. So,
my impression is that she didn't know on purpose, but none of the other pairings indicated that. So yours is probably more correct.
Oh, I wasn't sure. So, but here's the thing: what's kind of not pissing me off. I wouldn't say it's pissing me off, but Tatyanna, she's got the look. She looks like a badass who could kick my ass. She looks like she can throw a punch, but she goes in there and something's not clicking. I don't know. I'm wondering sometimes, like, does she love wrestling, or she just wants to be famous? Because there's a big difference. You'll see, if you ever go to a wrestling school, you'll see the people who are like, I want to be a professional wrestler, and the ones who are there because they want to be famous and they want to be known so they can open their OnlyFans or whatever it's up to, or content, like any type of Patreon or online content. You clearly see that the time they put in is really minimal because they just want the fame that comes with it, and they're not really putting in the work when it comes to wrestling. They'll do minimal. So I was like, I don't know. I feel like, and she forgot to tie her boots. I was like,
can you believe that?
How the fuck?
How do you not know that? Don't your feet feel weird? Isn't the first thing you want to feel secure in your outfit?
Your ankles, yeah. It's like, and the laces were out and the boots were not. I was like, what the fuck? So that's why I'm like, here's a question. Why is she here? What's the purpose? What's the goal? She needs to start like answering those questions, because I feel if she's not there for, having a career or a long time or long term or whatever, they need to kick her out and bring somebody who wants it, because it's just sad, because she looks the part. The gear was fabulous this week. Mm-hmm. The hair, the makeup, everything's on point.
She came out looking intense.
Yeah, yeah, her entrance is good. It's like, but then again, once the bell ring, it's like, oh my God. And I mean, she had the trash talking down. Like, I was like, I know she's the heel. That is clear to me. The trash, like, it's good. There was a lot of, I always thought saying there's no sounds in the other matches. In this one, she kept like running her mouth. I was like, okay, good. But my God, I don't know what happened at one point. There was a deer in the headlight. They just stopped and looked at each other. I was like, oh, that's not good. And none of them, including Zena, had quick, like, thought of going like, hey, jump on the other, punch, talk, try to do something where kill time while you're trying to remember what the fuck is next. They just stood there. And I mean, that's on both of them. Somebody's got to do something. Of course, it's better if it's the heel who attacks. But if you're going over 5 seconds of nothing, it shows. And even someone who doesn't know wrestling knows that there's something wrong.
Yeah. So a couple of quick hits on this. One, the judges commented there was no story, and there was no story. Mm-hmm. Remember I pointed out that Zena always sells that left elbow? She was selling that left elbow again. That's what they clutch. Don't know. The judges basically said that they found Tatyanna to be lazy. Now, and some of the comments that you just made, it reminds me of our first episode when I said I was frankly surprised she was invited back because I don't think that she quite had it. Booker, at some point, and he's Tatyanna's coach, said, I wash my hands of this match. I have nothing to do with this match. That is not a good sign. And then the finish,
and I believe him.
Yeah. And then the finish was just a forearm from Tatyanna, and she got the win. The judges were not impressed. And the only other quick area I have is that Bubba Ray Dudley was wearing an NWA sweatshirt on WWE television for more than one segment. And that cannot be by accident. I am loving these little things. I know Natty's going to Bloodsport. I
was going to say Natty just went to NWA, so yeah. I'm guessing they're fine with that, of course.
No, it's fantastic. I love these little things. I love these little plugs. It's little things like that. Anyway,
the McMahon days are gone. That's another sign.
That's right. Then we hear from Zena, who's frustrated by Tatyanna's efforts, and basically blames all of the sluggishness and the tomfoolery on Tatyanna. And apparently Tatyanna got hurt, and Tatyanna basically thinks that Zena hurt her deliberately.
On purpose. Yeah, that's what she said. But then it stops there, and hopefully we'll know next week, because there was no other details. It just ended like that.
Right.
And
well, this is what I want to ask you. I want to ask you if you saw during the match any purposeful intent of hurting, or even purposeful stiffness due to frustration, or is Tatyanna just an excuse maker? Because remember last season, you didn't see of all this season, but I mentioned that Tatyanna playing Tyra May. She accused her of playing dirty, and she was, I'm like, you can't accuse an Olympic gold medalist of not, giving it their all and whatever. And now she's doing it again, and I didn't see anything intentional or even stiff. It just looked like they were both clumsy, but I don't have your eye.
I didn't see anything specific. The only thing I would say is like when Zena screamed, that was like from frustration, but it was just a scream. It was not hitting or scratching or whatever. So I didn't, and they showed the double clothesline as it I don't know if it happened there, but I was like, I don't see anything. But then the camera, you could see Tatyanna's side and not like overview of where exactly the arm landed. Was it in the throat? I don't know. Because remember, Zena said like, oh, she's completely blown up. But if you hit somebody in the throat, they will be blown up, and it's really hard to recover because you can't breathe. So is that what happened? That could be an answer. And going back to Zena, I would definitely, the outfit needs to go. There's two things that need to go. The outfit and the skipping. AJ Lee did the skipping before. Stop it. You have a great build. I would get a gear. She's from Ukraine. I would get a nice gear that's blue and yellow and white, just like the flag of her country. It would be, and something that's like shiny, that shows her muscle, and it would fit with her blonde hair and her blue eyes. That would add so much to her than just this boring, and it's just a dress. There's no boots cover up or I don't know, some nice wristbands or anything that adds to the dress. It's just
she looks like a baby doll, like a muscular baby doll, when you're saying she should look like Wonder Woman, basically.
Exactly. I would like super like Ukraine woman, especially with what's going on right now in her country. I think representing and showing the colors of her country would be amazing for her people, for, representation of the strong people of Ukraine. I'm like, your gimmick is right there. You're a superhero. Yeah. It's like, it's right there. Everybody's wearing pink. Pink is giving me like headaches and I want to puke. Pink.
I know Bubba keeps calling her his retirement plan, but I like I said, I don't think her character has long legs in the WWE. I think it's like a cutesy thing that would work on Shimmer, then Glow, and then you go to the indie, and maybe works for a little bit here. But there aren't a whole lot of Danhausens or Orange Cassidys in the world, and she's got so much else going on for her. Anyway, enough about that. I'm really curious to find out what the injury is, because I didn't see anything untoward, or as far as I'm concerned, at this point, first of all, it takes two to tango, so there's at least a 50% chance it's Tatyanna is contributorily at fault, and she could have just landed wrong on her head. If her feet were not planted correctly, or even they were, and her boots gave because they're not laced up and zipped, her footing's going to be off, which means that, her balance. And if you're off by like a half an inch or a quarter of an inch or whatever, that's the difference between hitting, your forearm hitting a chin or hitting a leg.
Mm-hmm. I've seen people break their ankles on like a boot that was not tied up, and for her, it was not, period. So so many things can happen in this match. So yeah, we'll see next week, I guess.
Hope so.
For the last match though, oh my God, did Serena find her character? For how much she didn't want to be a heel, she is something. She just arrived. She woke up. The heel persona now, it's there. My God. Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah, she had a good promo. Let's get crazy. Vamos, baby. It's going to get spicy. The only issue I have with Serena is when she's cutting her after victory promos that are heelish and cocky, it looks like she's crying.
I noticed. It's like she should just stay full cocky. But, hopefully she will get there. But yeah.
I think if she said the exact same thing, the exact same way, but was smiling at the same time, it would make all the difference. But yeah, Bubba and Brooke, of course, were on the balcony, as we do with main events now. But yeah, I'm going to let you cover Serena a lot more. But Hayes, she just came out as the happy, loud girl. She didn't look as out of control as, last time. It's sort of like the drunk girl who you see across the street, throwing up on the, missing the trash can, and some guys, get her to a bus stop, and you're just hoping that they're good guys. Hayes basically, she comes out and she goes to do a handshake. Serena spits on her, and Hayes responds with a boo-boo face and then weak arm drags. And in my opinion, no, if someone spits you punch them in the face.
Or you push them, or you're pie face, or you're or you spit back. Yeah. You know what? If the heel does something, a babyface would never spit on his opponent. But if the heel spits on the face first, technically the babyface has the right to spit back. That would have been great. Spit back. She sells around into the arm drags. She would have had selling around gives you more space to take those arm drags, because those arm drags were shit. Oh my God. Yeah. A lot of people will take the arm drags on the side when you should go over, almost like a flip bump. And a lot of people just I don't know. They mess it up. But it was.
And those
bad.
judges were lying. They kept going, those are good arm drags. That's a good crossbody. I thought that the timing, I thought everything that Hayes did, except for when she teased dead leg and the sneak roll up, I thought everything, the timing was completely off. She seems like a sweet, sweet woman who really wants to do this, or thinks she does.
She's very new too. I think she has a good she's a natural baby face. Definitely, you want to cheer for her, but and they mentioned it. The kickouts are weak. She does. Here's the thing. Also, she's so new, but already she's not listening to the coaches. I think it's Bubba says, like, I told her not to do that, and she's doing it anyway. So, and on the opposite, Serena is like, she listens well, and she's doing so much better than what she used to be. Yeah, I just felt everything she did was weak. I like the fact that she kept on selling the leg. I like when there was a whip, she just stumbled and fell. I was like, great, like, it looks legit now. She can't run. So I really like that. I also like when Serena was doing like a knee hold, the referee counted 1, 2, 3, and she broke the hold just by a stiff little kick to the knee. And it looked great, and it sounded great too. So, yeah, but Ace works too small. Like, it's exactly like Danny. She needs to make everything bigger, stronger, intensity, because she's so small. And everything right now is just like blah.
And they did mention that she had only been there a month. So
is it 4 months? I thought it was 4 months.
Was it 4 months?
Yeah, I think so.
If it's 4 months, that's, well, who am I to say? But it seems to me like they were expecting more after 4 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
How about you? What would you say that looked like a 4-monther, or was that more like someone who's been there a week and a half?
No, a week and a half. They could not even do a match. So 4 months, I mean, the sell bigger, still people who have been wrestling for a year, they still don't do it to my liking. I think people don't stress enough on those little details. What's really bothering me is I feel like the coaches are less severe with the women. Oh, she's good. This one, oh, that was good. Oh, she's my retirement plan. I'm like, there's a lot of problems. Why don't you tell her? Stop telling her she's the shit and tell her what she does. Too soon. And be brutally honest. She's not there. There's so much potential, but stop saying it and tell her everything that's wrong, because there's a lot of things that are wrong when it comes either to Zena or A's, but it doesn't mean that it's not working now, that it's not going to get better, but you have to tell them. If they don't know, they don't fix it.
By the way, folks, LuFisto was part of Wrestling Soup's post-Evolution 2 live recap show, so you should check that out on either YouTube or on the download on the Wrestling Soup Network, the same place that you find this same show. But there was another event where Goldberg had his retirement match. I think it went about as well as it could have. Speech got cut off. Seth got injured. They're on NBC Live TV, all that. He doesn't seem to be satisfied with his retirement. LuFisto, do you think that maybe you should be to want to actually retire Goldberg?
No. I'm good.
I saw you kick out of the Helter Skelter, and nobody's kicked out of the Helter Skelter.
I kicked out of a lot of things, but I'm so beat up right now. The consequences years later.
Fair enough. All right. So Alicia Taylor, she drums up the drama at the end by telling us that Tatyanna is getting medical attention. She's no longer just with the training staff for the implications that she's actually at a local medical facility. They don't say those words. And Alicia Taylor's making a big deal about how she noticed a lot of tension. And then she goes, Undertaker, did you feel it too? And he totally no-sells it. He's like, well, I agree, but I see it as a positive. Everybody's just trying to step up and show us what they got. She should have gone to Booker or Bubba, someone who's gonna totally, sandbag these people and take his bus and run them over with it and put it in reverse and run over them again. She picked the wrong guy.
Oh, well, for the end, I mean, I was not surprised that it was Serena who won for the women. For the guys, though, I was like, they picked Shiloh, and I don't know. I feel like none of the guys really stood out this week. There was always a little something. And I feel they keep looking like Trill is always doing good as a babyface. And they barely mention his name. And I feel like he's impressive. He's doing his job as a babyface. But I don't know. I feel like they have those people they really want to push. And don't get me wrong, like Shiloh didn't do bad. Like I said, the 2 promos were great, but I was like, for a guy who's been there that long and it still looks like he's wrestling for himself, there's no sound, it's just bland once the bell ring. But then again, it could be like we've said before, is it the editing that there's some stuff we're missing, or who knows?
I don't know. Because I'm with you. I mean, if I was to give the points, I would have given it to Serena also. Charlotte gave it to Charlotte as the guest gets to award the points. She gave it to Serena over Zena. I mean, I just would have gone Serena. I wouldn't have mentioned it's over, because I think it was Serena and everyone else. I mean, you know, I don't know if Charlotte saw that Tatyanna was the problem or not, but I don't think any of the ladies impressed. Charlotte said she saw the wildness in Shiloh. Okay, and she gave him the point. I would have given the point to Trill. Trill was the only one who I stood up and said, wow, to me, Shiloh and Harlem, they were mostly indistinguishable as far as I'm concerned. I would have said that I actually thought that Harlem was a little bit more physical and a little bit more intense.
Between the two, I felt Harlem stood out a little bit more too. Of
course, BJ thinks it's him, but BJ, listen, BJ to me, I just feel like he's cartoonish. I feel like he's like doing a parody of what somebody would think a heel professional wrestler is on the Netflix TV show.
Like I said before, like I feel it's a Timu version of the Mean Street Posse, but Paperboy style, like blowjob the Paperboy. So yeah, that's
blowjob the Paperboy.
Okay. I won't get over it. It's like the name is wrong, the look is wrong. You know, he needs to fix that before he does anything else. Like it's bad.
All right. Well, listen, Booker's revenge tour continues. He has 3 points. He's in the lead. His usual rival, the Undertaker, is right behind him with 2 points. Bubba has 1. Michelle McCool continuing the trend from last year, where Mickie James had 0 points, into later episodes, also a 0. And Serena is the only person with 2 points. So good for her. Last year, that was Zena. There were a couple guys that sort of shared the spotlight. Jasper, Shiloh, Anthony Luke, all sort of shined last year. By the way, there was something I noticed that there was another thing WWE is good about that I don't think they get enough credit for is there was a Slim Jim commercial, and it was, mostly featuring, I think, Jey Uso and LA Knight. But in the back, I saw Jordan Yearwood doing yoga, Troy Yearwood, rather, who's now Jasper Hampton on Evolve. I saw Ren Sinclair, who used to be Maddie Renkowski. There was someone, Miles Bourne was in there. So they got people from Evolve and NXT and lower card on WWE, sort of as background characters in there. And those all count, I believe, for SAG credits. Even if those commercials air no one except on WWE programming, I still think it counts. And there's no reason to believe that they only appear on WWE program. It's just that's probably the only commercials I watch. So I don't know. This isn't really nothing to do with LFG, because I don't think I saw anyone from LFG this season, but Troy Yearwood / Jamar Hampton was, in fact, on LFG season 1 and is now on Evolve. So already he's getting, obviously they like the guy if he's already getting commercial time. So anyway, just a little thing that I notice and I like to bring up, because I don't think really anyone else is likely to do that sort of thing, whatever it adds to the show. I have no idea. I thought this episode wasn't the strongest effort. I don't think the matches were great. I don't think anyone really distinguished themselves. Like if I was Charlotte, I'd probably be like, yeah, some of them can talk, but I'm not so sure about the work.
Yeah, I mean, I felt the same, besides the episode was about heels and faces. So that's why I'm saying it should have been Trill London, because he was the clear babyface. And Serena, right thing. Like she was the heel. She stood out of the group. So I don't know what they based their criteria on, but if you go with what the show is about, like the episode, I was like, I feel this is wrong.
Only 2 of them LFG'd, and that was Serena and Trill. And by the way, BJ, his cheating roll-up, while I praised him on it, it wasn't exactly neat. And Trill made sure to get both of his shoulders down on the mat, and the ref was in the right position. So he was fine. It was not one of those where the shoulders are a little bit up and they just conveniently ignore it. So, so he even got the sort of the finish right. So mad ups to Trill. I guess I'm a convert now. We'll see how long that lasts, because I am a fickle bitch. Daniel Bryan was talking about me, as was Bryan Danielson. So, all right. I don't know what else to say. I guess you can, let's promote your stuff, and then I'll promote my stuff, and then we should promote Soup.
So, no, you go first this week.
All right. So anyway, listen, first of all, thanks to Wrestling Soup. Please subscribe to Wrestling Soup. If you can become a patron, you can go to WrestlingSoup.com. I think there's also Patreon, Wrestling Soup. I don't know. It's just
subscribe to everything.
Yeah, and go to YouTube and subscribe. You can figure it out. Even go to Wrestling Soup and Friendos and subscribe to the feed. I still think the Evolve show of Dose of Chocolate is the only show that consistently populates that feed. But either one day the feed will go away, or there'll be more shows that populate that feed. So either way, you win. My shows, Garden of Thought. Just subscribe them. Again, you can do it on the Wrestling Soup Network, or you can do it on wherever podcasts are found. You'll generally get 2 to 3 shows a week. One is sort of like, the two of them are sort of like Joe Rogan, one being more the magazine show type, another being a little bit more sensational. And then one is with my good friend, my best friend, but I'm not his best friend, Mr. Thomas, and sometimes PJ Black, either the Gospel of Thomas or the Book of Black, where we talk to wrestlers about all things, usually not focusing on wrestling, but sometimes wrestling. We talked to Vicious Vicky Venuto. Fun show. She laughed at some of my jokes, so obviously I like her. And I don't know, just you can follow me on Dose_evil or at Icarus Fell MD. And believe me, anything I do, if I guest on anyone's show or whatever, I will be putting that all over. All right. So there I go. I'm done.
And you can follow me on X at LuFisto. It's LuFisto Pro Wrestling and Arts on Instagram, Facebook.com/LuFisto on Facebook, of course. And follow also Women's Wrestling Syndicate, which is my promotion, all female wrestling. The wrestlers are female, the referees, the announcers, the interviewer, and the people in the back as well. So give us a shout out on our social media. Look for Women's Wrestling Syndicate and click subscribe and follow us also on YouTube. We put videos out there of older matches, very, very old matches, and everything from our shows will be uploaded there. I'm currently uploading the last show we had on June 22nd, sorry. Her next show is September 14. And yeah, stay tuned. And if anything, you can reach out to Jeff and I. We love to read your comments. We love your ideas. And I think that's it for this week's for Boiled and Fried and Put Him in His